This is the 911 Calls Podcast with the operator.
I got in my car and drove away. I'm scared to death.
Oh, hello, Jess.
Hi, up.
How are you?
I'm good.
You get to experience the awkward how are you after an hour-long uncut, which is really hard to do anything with because we've been talking for so long. We were talking about rage quitting on the uncut, and when we have rage quit in the past. One thing we didn't talk about, though, with regard to rage quitting, have you ever rage quit a relationship? I mean, I guess I should ask that you could talk about.
No, I don't think rage quit. I've only really been in one relationship.
Okay, so if you say yes to this question, then we've got a problem because this is pending.
No, we broke up. No. No. Before our first son was born, I had kicked my brother out and then immediately kicked my husband, well, at the time, boyfriend out.
You did? You kicked?
Yeah.
So was it a byproduct of your brother?
Yeah, because my husband also drinks, and it was more, he drank probably more back then. We were younger. I guess I was like 22, 23 maybe. Yeah. And I just had made up in my mind that I didn't want to be with anyone that drank. And I didn't want drinking around me. And
I see.
I just kind of wanted a fresh start. And he was also working third shift, which is like, I don't know what time that is. 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Or
Yeah.
And so our schedules were really mismatched, and I was just like in a weird point in my life. So
yeah,
I kicked my brother out, and then like a week or two later, maybe like a month later, I kicked my boyfriend out. And then I quickly came crawling back.
So I know this is a touchy subject. We've talked about it before, but did your brother, was it after you kicked him out that it kind of went all downhill and led to the timeline led to his suicide, right?
This was like September, I kicked him out, and then October broke up with my boyfriend. The following February, March, me and my boyfriend got back together. Then May, brother dies. So, and
now you said that this was before your son was born. Were you pregnant during that time as well? Not at all.
A year later, I actually got pregnant like 2 months after my brother died.
Okay. All right.
And then had him the following year.
The reason I ask was because I know of several women who, I don't know if it's like wiring or like a chemical response, but I know several women who they've gotten pregnant and they've decided to do some social house cleaning after getting pregnant.
When I rage quit my job is when I got pregnant. So we talked about that.
No one knew that you were pregnant, right? But you had found out?
Yeah. So I was like, I mean, my best friend knew, and she was working with me at the time. But yeah, nobody else knew. I was really sick and really emotional.
Yeah.
And my brother had died 3 months before that. My grandpa, 3 months before that. So it was just like a really up and down year. And I've been taking Zoloft.
I'm just hearing a lot of excuses, person. I'm just hearing, no, just kidding. Oh, hey, this episode brought to you by Zoloft. But rage quitting is an interesting thing. And if you stuck around 1159 Media, you've experienced a little bit of it. As a I don't know, as an entrepreneur, I have a tendency to change things. And oftentimes that's a reflex of, I wouldn't call it rage quitting, but I'm not good at managing situations on the fly. Like, we've all had that boss or that leader where you're like, man, I don't know how you do it. Just everyone takes pride in working for them or with them. And all ships seem to rise with the tide with that leader in place and everything. I have a tendency to be like this, like, come on, everybody, it's a Boy Scout camp and we're going down the trail and everybody's happy. And as soon as things start going uphill, I'm like, it's still great. Everybody, look, the sun's shining. It's raining. It's not shining. I'm like, sun's shining, everybody. And I'm looking back and there's people that are complaining. I'm like, it's all right. We're all good. And then one kid like refuses to move on. And he just sits down on a rock and starts eating his baggie of gummy bears before lunch because lunch was at the top of the trail. And I'm like, kid, you can't do this. We're in this together. We got to do the thing. And he's like, screw you, happy man. It's not all good. I'm eating gummy bears. I'm sitting here. And I'm like, guess what? You're going to find the bottom of the ravine. And then I take the kid and I just huck him into the ravine. I'm like, house cleaning. Anybody else got a problem? Let's keep going. I don't know why. Like, I'm like all happy.
Like a demented Mr. Rogers.
Yes. Bex can relate with this because more than once I've reached out to Bex, who is one of our, I don't know, it feels almost demeaning to just call her, or limiting to just call her, part of our social media team, because her advice is kind of exceeded the bounds of just social media. But there's been several times I'm like, Bex, this is what's going down. I'm doing this thing. And she's like, actually, might I suggest that you don't do that? Please, don't do that. I'm like, yeah, give me more. Maybe, okay, I'm going to sleep on it. And the next day I come back, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I was on too much root beer. You're right, Bex. So she's brought me down several times. But rage quitting, it's a thing. It's weird because it's like our brains do I believe that a lot of the time rage quitting is a survival mechanism.
Yeah, there's probably other factors going on outside of, or it's like a built up.
Yeah, it's compounding
reaction. Yeah,
Right. It's funny. It's just funny when you hear about somebody else rage quitting. It's like watching a train wreck. You cannot look away. You're like, tell me more. Because it's always, it's like the person that's rage quitting is doing what we all want to do in life. They're like telling their boss off or, walking out mid-shift or whatever. It's the things that we all dream about doing when we're under the thumb of an employer or something like that.
I've witnessed somebody like tossing a whole tray of food, flipping it over, pointing at people that they didn't like. It was like a movie scene. It was insane. But
this was a server at a.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, it was a server, and they were in the kitchen. It was. They were like, most of them are closed now. O'Charlie's, where you could like see the kitchen, like where the glass is. And he just like, I don't know how familiar you are with food service, but there's an expo line and you take the food out of the window and they put it on the tray, and there's normally like a tray stand.
Yeah.
You put the tray together and then someone runs the food, right?
Right.
He was so mad. And he walked up and he flipped like 2 full trays of food, just flipped it over on the busy Friday night. And then he's like, F you, F you, F you, F you. And he like knocked things off, drinks and everywhere. As he walked out, he just like kind of took his arms down. It was like,
just arms out like that kid in the grocery store is just emptying the aisle.
Yes. It was epic.
Wow. Was he justified? Do you remember?
I mean, he always kind of popped off. It was kind of, he'd be the one that like probably would be a school shooter type.
Oh gosh. Okay. So probably not justified if we're being honest about it.
They hired him back like 5 years later.
Did they really? He probably had gone through anger management, or maybe he had a kid, because that seems to rewire everybody.
I don't know what that movie was, but it was just like, was it Half-Baked?
Oh,
I think Chase said, yeah. He did it just like that. And I guarantee it was like planned in his mind, probably.
Really?
To do that.
Like he knew one day that's how he's leaving. He's going out that way.
It was epic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. It's great to watch. It's not great when you're having to clean up the trays.
There were rolls everywhere. Like just...
Terror at the Old Charlie's tonight on Channel 7. Well, guess what? Today, we're actually diving into a story that's as puzzling as it is tragic. So we're going to Boulder, Colorado. And so let's start with the who's who. So first, we've got Sean and Stacy Griffin, both born in the late 60s. They were the proud owners of Boulder Stove and Flooring. And every time I say a name of a business, I'm instantly haunted with the fact that I could have done the research to see if Boulder Stove and Flooring is still in business. Oh, wait, no, hold on. My research brain is kicking in. What did I read? I read that Boulder Stove and Flooring is not in business anymore, and the building was auctioned off. Okay, I remember that. So it's no longer in business. I don't know what it is. I could have figured that out now. It's probably a Dollar General per Kent Chungus's logic from True Crime Kent. But anyway, so by all accounts, they were the kind of bosses who they knew your birthday. They probably even got you a cake on your birthday. You probably got a great discount on stove and floorings. Then there's Robert Montgomery, who's a guy who seemed to live as quietly as a mouse with his cat. He's 50 years old, longtime employee of Boulder Stove and Flooring. He'd been working there since 2003, and this is going to all happen around 2010. So he's been there, he's moving in on a decade. He's going to get that Boulder Stove and Flooring 10-year pin soon, probably. But he's not your join the office party kind of guy. What's the connection? Simple. Boss and employee. But it's never just that simple, is it? There's always more than meets the eye to that dynamic. Some boss-employee relationships are great. Other ones are not. Other ones involve pictures. So here's the lead up. Let's rewind a bit to May 17th, 2010. So it's a Monday. Pretty standard stuff. Every week has a Monday. This one was no exception. Sean and Stacy, probably sipping their morning coffee, gearing up for another day at the shop. Montgomery, well, he's due for his shift at 11, but it's not just any other day at the office. There's tension in the air. Something's brewing beneath the surface. So Sean and Stacy, they've been changing up how the paychecks look, kind of stuff that makes everyone a bit edgy. Meanwhile, Montgomery, he's not just brewing coffee, he's brewing a whole heaping of discontent. Seems like he's not a fan of the new changes, but it's quiet, like the calm before storm. So,
wait, like payment changes or the format of the paycheck?
Oftentimes, well, what we're talking about here is a little bit of a rejiggering of the commission structure.
Oh. Okay. I thought you meant like the look. They changed it from blue to green.
I do not like this new pink pattern in the background. Makes me feel feminine when I go to deposit it at the bank. Dang it.
No, we're talking about the commission structure. He had been there a very long time, so he was very familiar with things. He has a cat, so he, by all demographic standards, doesn't like change. I don't know what cats have to do with that, but it's, maybe a factor. I don't know.
Did you make that up?
I did. I just made it
up.
I just started thinking of all the people that I know that have cats and how a lot of them don't like change. And I don't know if that's universal, but you know what? Let's go with it. Let's say it is universal. If you own a cat and you love change, let us know in the comments. I don't know how you're going to leave a comment on this somewhere. Find us on Facebook.
Yeah, because we have no great community source for them to.
Or leave us a 1-star.
No, Leave us a 5-star and tell us
that you love your cat, but you also love change. Yeah. Or Facebook. Hit us up on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, or Instagram. We haven't made it to TikTok yet, really. I mean, we're there, but we're not really. Anyway, back to this thing. Calm before the storm. So the scene just before it all goes down, the store's open, customers are walking in, Montgomery clocks in, just another day, right? Wrong. Are you ready for
me to press? Oh, shoot, I hit the Janice button. Hold on. Dang it, Janice.
Where is it? Find you here. Okay, got it. Are you ready for me to press play on this bad boy?
I guess.
Okay, here we go.
"911, where is your emergency?"
Hi, it's 2887 30th Street in Boulder, Colorado.
2887 30th Street?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
It sounded like gunshots behind the store.
We were in the store, at the tile store. It sounded like gunshots. I don't know what it was, but when I looked in the back room, someone was sloped down in his chair.
Can you see, so it come from behind the shop?
I got in my car and drove away. I'm scared to death. Please get someone there.
All right, ma'am, we're going to have someone come along, okay? How many gunshots did you hear?
I mean, like...
There was probably 8 or 10.
Yeah, 8 or 10. It went on.
Did you see anyone with a gun?
Oh, no, and we just figured he was using a staple gun or hitting tile, and then I looked in the back room and I saw someone sloped in their chair, I think, unless he was bending down to get some, and I got so scared I ran away.
So in the back of that store on 30th Street, you saw a person slumped down?
In their chair after I heard 8 or 10 loud bangs that could have been a gunshot. I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining the whole thing. I don't know.
I heard it too. I don't know what it was.
Okay, man. What's your name?
Don't panic.
What's your name?
I'm behind Vitamin Cottage on, I think, Pine Street.
What's your phone number? Okay, are you waiting in the area for us, or have you gone somewhere? Are you going to head off somewhere else?
I'm with Matt.
Yeah.
I'm with a guy named in the store. He got scared and got in my car and drove away with me.
Okay. All right, we have your contact details. We're going to have officers swing by and check that area again. I just want to confirm the address, 2887 30th Street.
Yeah.
What was the name of the shop?
Boulder Stoves and Flooring.
Boulder?
Stoves and Flooring.
Stoves and Flooring?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just south of Valmont.
Okay. And that's a store, and the back of that store is where you saw this person slumped over?
In the back office.
Okay.
After the banging sound.
Okay. Did you see any blood or anything like that?
No, I ran out the door, scared to death.
Okay. Okay, we have officers en route already, ma'am. We're going to look into the matter, okay?
Yes, I need to know what happened.
Okay, I'll have an officer contact you as well, ma'am. They're probably going to contact you anyway, but I can have one call you, okay?
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Okay. All right. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, it was a British dispatcher, right?
Yeah, it threw me off for a minute. I was like, oh no, what have I done? Is this a happy ending? No, unless they're exporting their outsourcing their dispatch to Leeds. I don't know what was going on there. It did throw me off when I first heard it too.
He did a good job, but it was just
never
really anyway. Obviously,
I tell you what, in the U.S., if you live in the U.S. and you are British speaking, you should try to get a job at a dispatch because we will let you because your voice is soothing. Even if you're being rude, we still think your voice is soothing. So you got an in there. I'll give you a recommendation. Anyway, I don't know where that's going. Also, she sounded like, I don't know if she went to Boulder Stove and Flooring drunk, but she sounded like,
Well, I was looking at Google Maps and I don't know how much it's changed, but it looks like there's a market next door. It doesn't look like the best area.
No, these places never are. They're in the industrial district, right? At the time, it was right next door to a RV, like an RV company, RV business, which for the police is a nightmare because what they're dealing with is they're like, oh, okay, so something went down there. The culprit could be in any one of 200 portable homes in the lot next door, like they could be anywhere.
Right.
And so the other thing, I don't know, it always bothers me. Everybody's going to do themselves. I mean, that came out wrong. Everyone's going to do things the way they're going to do it. But I've always been troubled by people that are at a scene and choose to completely leave the scene and then call 911 because it doesn't help. It doesn't, it's not very helpful. It's like that one call we had a little while ago where I couldn't get off the fact that like everyone that called wasn't at the gas station anymore. No one was still at.
Come to Pathmark 24 hours a day for savings all over that add up to savings overall.
Everyone had left Pathmark in that episode. You remember? And like, so it was almost hearsay. It was almost like third-hand knowledge.
I thought it was weird that she let a stranger in her car.
Yeah, an employee. So my question is, did he clock out before he did? Come on.
Or what if he was the shooter?
Good point. It could have been because all she saw in the back was a guy who was either dead in a chair or bending over to tie his shoe. She wasn't sure. She didn't see any blood. They heard 8 to 10 shots. I mean, that's a significant amount of shots. In the back door, Raven is thinking the same thing you're thinking, Jess. She says, dude who jumped in the car is the shooter, I think. And so a situation like this is chaotic because 8 to 10 shots go off. The only witnesses are now in a car leaving the scene. So also a little bit troubling for police officers who are showing up because they don't know if whoever they're going to run into, is this the shooter? Is it another witness? So, they've got a problem on their hands. And I normally don't, and I didn't this time, just so everybody knows. There's about 30 minutes of the radio traffic from the police on their staging this scene based on this, drive away car that said, hey, there were a bunch of shots. And it was really interesting the way that they were piecing it together when they showed up.
Are you not going to play it?
No, because it was just, there wasn't enough meat on the bone. It was just a lot of codes and everything. But as you listen to it, you piece this picture together of, they don't just blow into the door and like, hands up, whoever's in here, we need to see your hand. They don't do that because it's a stove and flooring business. That's got some square footage to it. And so it's just interesting. It's almost like an art form.
Can we add it? Let's do it as a plus. No, we could just add the clip. They could go listen to it somewhere else or at the end of this. Because coming from maybe I'm speaking only for myself, but I listen to like court case hearings. I just like to hear all the details. So
yeah. Okay. How about this? If you're on Plus or Patreon or listening to this through $11.59 Premium through Apple Podcasts, right now you can listen to the radio chatter. Here it is. Okay, so that was the radio chatter, and it's long. But the thing you get, the picture that forms in your head is, and it always blows my mind that this is happening on the fly, that there's a police officer, first police officer, right? First one on the scene. They have to be thinking through the fact that, okay, we don't know, 1, were these gunshots? 2, are there dead people? 3 is if they are gunshots, is there an active shooter? Is he somewhere in this, 10,000 square foot building.
Yeah, I think that's where I disagree. I think I would leave the scene if I had witnessed that. Where am I going to go hide? Like,
yeah, I mean, I get Bolt like getting out of the store and finding cover, or but they're like driving home. Like, what does she do? She's like, okay, where do you live, dude? And she like takes the guy home, or what?
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
So I get it. Find cover. Like every dispatcher says, make sure that you're safe. We don't want you. But, the police, they come. So in that radio chatter, you hear the police. They know that this isn't a one-man job. The first responder shows up. He's like, we need more police officers. So he doesn't enter the building until there's enough police officers. And then they start to go through the building. As soon as they see the size of the building, they stop their search of the rest of the remainder of the building and say, we need more police officers. Because what they determined on the fly again is that if they get separated, they're once again just solo police officers going down hallways or into back doors or offices or whatever. And this is risky. So they get more police officers to come, and then they need more police officers because they need them posted at significant points of entry and exit on the building, in the back, in the front. And then as the police chatter goes on, you hear a police officer radio in from the alley saying, hey, I just ran into a man with a blue striped shirt on. And like everybody's on pins and needles, and it's like, okay, code 150, let us know what's, you don't know if that guy's the shooter. It's not till like minutes later where you hear that guy go, yeah, he's nobody. So it's like this whole scene. No one knows what's going on. They're working off of a bit of information. And then, so here's how things roll out for this one. Montgomery, he doesn't head to the sales floor. Instead, he goes to the back office, and then bang, not once, not twice, but 12 times. Sean and Stacy, they don't stand a chance. Montgomery then, in a final act, turns the gun on himself. It turns into be a scene that you'd hope to never see. Now, also, though, consider the complexity as you listen to the radio chatter. They come across the bodies relatively quickly, because if you were listening to the 911 call, you heard the lady say, I looked in the back office and saw a man slumped over, right? So everybody was within a very accessible part of the building that was deceased at this point. But the police didn't know that. They just know they have a whole building to cover. Like, were all three of these shot by somebody, or is this a murder-suicide? They don't know.
Right.
So they got to go through this whole thing. Now, in cases like this, there's obviously, because this was a murder-suicide, there's no courtroom drama. There's any gavel banging or any drama that we can dig into there. Montgomery's final act was his own grim sentence. Questions remain, like, what about Stacy and Sean's justice? That's just left hanging in the air like a question nobody can answer. But there is one thing that we can dig into.
Ads.
Jess, I might need to escort you off the show because you are too good at picking up what I'm putting down.
Well, you were trying to fire me earlier, so.
I didn't try to fire you earlier. I wasn't firing you. It was rage quit, and it's fine. I'm over it. Now, here's some ads because we got to pay the bills. All right, we're back. So what we can dig into a little bit is there is some meat on the bone when it comes to what was going on, what led up to this. So Robert Montgomery spent his days obsessing over his pay at work, cutting and pasting nude photos of himself onto other people's pictures, sleeping in an armchair, and watching movies from his vast selection of DVDs, according to police reports. final summary report of the double murder-suicide at Boulder Stove and Flooring on May 17th gives insight into this 50-year-old loner who killed his employers, Sean and Stacy Griffin. They said, it is apparent that Montgomery was upset with Sean and Stacy Griffin over what he perceived as mistreatment, particularly regarding monetary compensation. A search of his computer and journal appeared to show that Montgomery had also become particularly fixated on Stacy Griffin and appears to have focused most of his anger toward her. Consider the number of bullets that were fired. In an examination of Montgomery's computer, detectives discovered that he had a large collection of female celebrity photographs and nude pictures of himself in different poses. It was found that he was using photo editing software to cut his body, face, and genitals out of his photos and then pasting them into other photos, including shots of his friends, family members, and members of even the Griffin's family, according to the report. Oh, so, like, have you? Okay, here's a question.
Think about when I was a kid, we like cut things out of magazines.
Yeah, right.
To like paste.
Did you ever do one of those like dream builds where you put yourself next to like, you know, Orlando Bloom or anything like that?
Oh yeah, we made all sorts of posters and stuff. I was a 90s kid. So. But I just envision that's disgusting.
It's gross.
He like cuts out his little dick.
Yeah, he was quite the photo, the photo taker apparently, and he had gotten pretty creative with poses as well. So, Chase is sitting there in the back, as silent as a mouse. Chase, did you ever dream build cutting pictures of yourself and put them next to your celebrities of choice, like Orlando Bloom?
No, for me, it was next to Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, of course, naturally. Totally forgot about that hunk of steel.
Love me some Marky Mark.
Did you ever, either one of you, did you ever like write all over your notebooks with like your initials plus somebody else and that kind of a thing?
Yes. I had a huge crush on my teacher.
Oh, snap. How old? Wait, hold on. How old were you? Was this college?
No, 5th grade.
I was just thinking maybe it was a strategy. Like you're really failing, you know, poli-sci 102. And you're like, how am I going to go? I know. He'll pick up on this.
Jeez, no.
Sorry. What about you, Chase?
For me, it was mostly just, I drew nautical stars on everything.
Oh, that's fun.
Like hundreds and hundreds of nautical stars. I had a problem.
You were just hoping you'd find yourself a sea girl.
Yes.
To line up with this old weathered seaman.
Yep. And me and all my seamans.
I did a weird thing. I would write my initials plus and then somebody else's initials, but I'd put a question mark next to it. But I'd make sure that it was like visible to somebody else in class, and then it would start a rumor that I liked somebody, you know, and then it was plausible deniability, or, you know, I would confirm it. You know, I was always drumming up drama. I was like, they called me Soap Opera Sam.
I don't doubt it.
They didn't call me that. They called me Lil Smokey, and I don't know why. Anyway, back to this story here. The night before Montgomery shot the Griffins, he told his parents in a phone message that he was planning to have a meeting with his bosses in the morning. In 2 journal entries a few days earlier, Montgomery mentioned Sean and Stacy Griffin. He used capitalized expletives and accused them of cheating us again? ? Montgomery abruptly hung up on his parents after that. On the morning of the shooting, Sean Griffin had a loaded handgun with him in the office, but police said it was inside a zipped backpack. Boulder Stove employee Matt Rood told investigators that the two other employees just left before Montgomery arrived about 11 a.m. So I don't really know, because I can't imagine this place is open 24/7. Why would two employees just leave?
If it was 11, maybe it was lunchtime.
Maybe, but that seems like brunch. Like is this stove and flooring shop like part of a country club?
No, I mean,
we don't know. We don't have answers. You know, the world will never know now. But Montgomery said, "Hey," to Rood when he arrived at work, and Rood said, "Hey," back to him without making eye contact. A subcontractor told investigators that he called the store about that same time, just minutes before the shooting. Now, the shooting took place just after 11 o'clock in the morning. But just minutes before the shooting, the subcontractor testified that he called, and Montgomery answered and was very short, according to the report. I don't know what his height has to do with that at all, and why the subcontractor would talk about his height, but that's I don't know, demeaning. That was a joke. Did you get the joke?
It was so funny.
Thanks. Oh. Oof. Tough crowd. Montgomery has usually been very thorough, the subcontractor told police. Instead, Montgomery abruptly hung up on them. Sean and Stacy Griffin were on a conference call with their realtor a few minutes after 11 a.m. when the call suddenly disconnected, the realtor told detectives. She tried to call back, but no one answered, according to police. Can you guess why?
They were dead?
They were getting shot.
Okay.
Good deduction. At that time, Rood was in the showroom with a customer and heard a series of gunshots. Quote, the first series of shots was approximately 4 to 5 shots, according to police. There was a slight pause, which Rood described as only long enough to change targets, but not long enough to reload. There was another set of 3 to 5 shots after that. When the firing stopped, he told police it was eerily quiet. When police arrived, they found 2 male bodies on top of each other and a female body nearby. Now, these bodies were literally on top of each other. They hadn't been photoshopped that way. Detectives found 2 backpacks in the Griffin's office, which was scattered with shell casings. One backpack was next to Sean Griffin's desk and contained his black loaded handgun. The other was by Montgomery's desk and contained ammunition, a ShamWow towel, because they do a really thorough job of cleaning things up, a package of foam earplugs, and a Disney Princess and the Frog DVD, according to the report. And I remember we talked about his copious DVDs collection. I guess this was probably his, or even sadder, this could have been a DVD from one of the owners for maybe one of their kids. That makes the story even more sad, and I don't have a good answer for that. Let's go with that. I don't know. It depends on what kind of a person you are. We can either go with it was Montgomery's, and that's creepy and fits the MO, or how sad this was the Griffins.
Fine. I was just going to say it was probably the creepy.
You're going with creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like going with creepy because I just don't want to think about who he took or who he left without parents. You know, I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, that's
I hate these kind of situations with this happen. So when they searched Montgomery's home, detectives found an open plastic carrying case for a Smith & Wesson semi-automatic handgun, 9mm, and an empty box of ammunition. So Rood told police, now remember, Rood's one of the other employees at the shop.
Yeah.
Rood told police that Montgomery suffered from bone and joint problems, and he was forced to sleep in a recliner because he couldn't sleep in a normal bed. According to the report, Rood said Montgomery's only hobby was watching movies from his large collection of DVDs. Really felt like he was getting screwed by the Griffins, Rood said about Montgomery, because he used to make like $1,000 a month in commissions and was only making about $400 a quarter now. So Montgomery complained to the Griffins, Rood had told police, but they didn't seem to, quote, value his opinion or take his complaints seriously. Now, sidebar, I know a guy who started a very successful company called T-Sheets, and T-Sheets got bought by Intuit, which owns QuickBooks, right? It's a big old company. Mm-hmm. This guy's a genius. He also partnered with a super genius programmer who used to work for like the Department of Defense. Like these guys are smart. How smart? Well, rewind a handful of years before he started T-Sheets, and he was working for a cell phone company as a salesman for the cell phone company. He was so smart that he sold more phones than anybody else, at like exponentially more phones than everybody else. He was so good at it that the cell phone company changed their commission structure to hamper his earnings. That's the only way you could slice it. It was crazy.
It's like the curve in school. Like,
yeah,
if someone scored really well, it messed up our curve. So
yeah,
we did
exactly. What a motivation to not do super well. Or, right. You got those couple bully kids that are like, hey, I know you're an A+ student, but you're really hurting the rest of us. So why don't you knock it back before I knock you back? Yeah, sad. So, and I don't know. I mean, when I think about stoves and flooring, I think those might be kind of seasonal. Like, I'm not really looking to buy a stove unless one, I'm building a house. Two, if I already have a house and I need a stove, it's because it either went out or I'm looking for pot bellies. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking that stoves and flooring maybe not like happening all year round. And so maybe they realized that their commission structure needed to be adjusted and they were taking no prisoners with their choices. So in the past, Montgomery had called Stacy Griffin a liar, Rood told the police, and this caused much tension in the workplace. And Sean Griffin had a 2-hour discussion with Montgomery just about that comment. Grover Cleveland, who told, not the president, just a guy named Grover Cleveland, who told police that he was very good friends with Montgomery. Maybe it was the president, and he just came back in ghost form.
Resurrected for this moment.
Yeah, he came back. He came back to life and told the police that he was good friends with Montgomery and that Montgomery was despondent, which sounds like a word that they would use back in Grover Cleveland's time. So I'm going with he was a ghost.
No.
He was despondent on the phone device 2 nights before the shooting, according to the report. Phone device. It was Grover Cleveland. Oh my gosh. All right, so I'll stop being funny. I know it's probably hard to laugh so hard and still use your earballs to listen. So Rob had the impression that Sean and Stacy were cooking the books and screwing them on commissions, according to the report from Grover Cleveland. He said that Rob Montgomery had tried to address this with Sean and Stacy, and their response was that he would easily be replaced. An employee file that the police found in the business contained a document from June 2009, a year before, noting corrective action against Montgomery in the areas of pay, working conditions with other employees, tardiness, and unwillingness to help with menial tasks, according to the report.
So no wonder he got his commission changed.
Yeah, it seems kind of like he had it coming, whatever was coming to him, like especially like just kind of the slow leak in his commission pay. It sounded like this was, it wasn't them. maybe it was him.
I don't think it was those people's fault. No.
No one deserves to be shot in Boulder stove and flooring. Nobody. So Sean Griffin, age 40, and Stacy Griffin, age 41, are survived by a 13-year-old daughter, Avery Griffin.
Oh.
And she's living with family on the East Coast now and, quote, doing very well. So here's one more interesting thing that I dug up on our suspect here, Rob Montgomery. His background check shows that he was on a watch list, a federal watch list, but a weird one that you don't hear about very often. So this watch list was what's called a SAM watch list, and it stands for System. Not like me going and looking for people. I mean, that watch list exists as well, but
they created a watch list for.
They create a watch list for people. So they let people know that I'm watching them.
No, that's not what I was going for.
Oh, wait. You're talking about me stalking people?
You're just so odd. They need to watch you at all times.
Okay. Fair enough. System, it stands for System for Award Management Exclusions, actually. And what that is a watch list that fires off an alert when someone tries to contracts with the federal government. So he was on a watch list that banned him from working for, making money off of, or contracting for the federal government. I would go out on a limb and say that's hard to do. Like, that's hard to get on that watch list.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the qualifications are for that. Like,
you can look it up. You can look up System for Award Management actually at sam.gov if you want to look it up. But yeah, he was on the exclusion list, meaning that he was not allowed to work for the federal government. And why do I feel like he would use that as like a party conversation? Like, he would say, you know what? Yeah, I've seen some stuff. Actually, the federal government won't even let me work for them anymore. Like, I feel like that's him, like he talks about his cat. He asks people if they've seen Princess and the Frog. Uses the word banger in the same conversation about the Disney show. And then also talks about being on a federal watch list, but in like a cool way.
Very odd.
Well, we don't have to worry about him anymore because he's dead. He killed himself after shooting two people that super didn't deserve it. So that's the bright lining at the end of this, but I don't want you to feel like that's it, because I also have a happy ending. Would you like me to share the happy ending with you?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. So there's this mom, Lisa Kirby, right? She's just doing her thing, trying to hang some curtains in her house. But whoops, she takes a nasty spill and bam, she's out cold on the floor. Can't move. Tough break. Here's where it gets wild. Lisa's at home with her 7-year-old son, Joshua, and he's autistic. And let's be honest, no one is expecting him to save the day, especially his mom, who has never taught him how to act in an emergency situation like this. It's never come up. Never been something they covered. She's doing the curtains thing. She falls down, and then this call is placed. You ready for me to press play?
Yeah, I'm scared. This is like my biggest fear, something happening when I'm home with just the kids.
Well, I'll tell you what, don't worry, because this one's going to make that fear worse.
Okay.
Just hearing the mom in the background is going to, but you know what? Why am I talking about it when I've got the audio right here?
Isn't this a happy ending?
It's a happy ending. It's a happy ending. I promise you. Okay?
Okay.
If you're ready, here we go.
911, where's your emergency?
I need some help.
What's going on?
Mommy hurts.
Do you know your address?
Yeah?
What's your address? Your arm hurts?
Yeah? No.
Okay, what happened? Hello? Hello, what happened?
Mommy got hurt.
How did she get hurt?
Just because Mommy fell down.
She fell?
Yeah?
Where'd she fall at?
Right here.
Can I talk to her?
Yeah?
Ma'am, what's going on? Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am, can you give the phone back to your child? Give the phone back to your child. Hello? Hello?
I need help here.
Okay, sweetie, are you on the phone?
Yeah?
Okay, how old are you?
7.
What's your name? Okay, is mommy bleeding?
Yeah?
Where's she bleeding at?
Right there to next to window.
Is she bleeding on her head?
Yeah?
What'd she fall on?
Next to the dog.
Did she trip over the dog?
Yeah?
Okay. Can you stay on the phone with me and get mommy a towel?
Hold on. Stop it, Mommy.
Did you get mommy a towel?
Yeah?
Can you put it on her head where she's bleeding?
I already did.
Okay. Is it just you and mommy there?
Yeah?
Is she bleeding anywhere else?
Yeah?
You're at
Yeah?
Okay. Stay on the phone with me, okay? Do you know how old your mommy is?
Stop it, Mommy. Stop.
Can you hear me?
Yeah?
Where is she bleeding anywhere else?
Her head right here.
Where's right here? On her head and where?
Yeah. She's
Is she
bleeding now.
Just on her head?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you unlock the door?
I already did.
Okay. Just stay on the phone with me until the ambulance gets there, okay? What kind of dog do you have?
Apollo?
Is he mean?
Yeah.
Can you put the dog in the room?
Okay. Come on, Apollo. Come on, puppy. Come on. Okay. Oh, step over mine.
Did you put the puppy up?
I already did.
Okay. Is she in the living room?
No.
Is she in the kitchen?
And
Where's your mommy? Where's your mommy at?
right there.
Is she in the living room? Is your mommy in the living room?
No.
Is your mommy in the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay. Tell her the ambulance is coming.
Stop it, Mommy. Stop it.
Tell mommy that the ambulance is coming.
Ambulance is coming over.
Does she still have the towel on her head?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see the blood on the towel?
I already did.
I know, but is the blood on the towel? They're almost to you, okay?
Hey, not funny. This is not funny.
Who are you talking to?
This is not funny at all.
Who's laughing?
What?
Who's laughing?
Fish.
Who?
Fish.
Fish?
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's that? Is there somebody else there with you?
Yeah.
Who?
Police.
Who's laughing?
My mommy.
Your front door is unlocked.
Call him. Call Dad. Call Daddy. Call Daddy. Please. Oh, God. What? Yeah?
What's your daddy's name?
Bob?
What is it? What's your daddy's name?
Okay. Ambulance is here now.
Stay on the phone with me.
Oh, no. Oh,
stay on the phone until they get inside.
Seven.
Are they coming inside? Hello? Open the door. So I need you to go open the door for the officer. Go open the door so Mommy can get help. Hello?
Okay.
This was not a I mean, I get that she was helped, but
sometimes, okay, let me explain. I'm going to explain a little bit.
No,
I'm just going to explain something. I think I took this, like, listening to it a second time now and watching everybody in the back door commenting, saying, like Luther said, did you consult with Jack on this happy ending? No. Okay, so
Raven said the same thing. Yeah,
when I heard this the first time, it hit me really. I had a massive response to it, a positive response, because when Sam 2.0 was younger, he manifested a lot of sensory and autistic characteristics. And as anybody with a child that's like that knows, when you raise a child that suffers from those types of things, the wins in the day, the little parent trophies that you get, look completely different.
True. I can see from that perspective because this little boy did amazing.
Yeah, they don't say "I love you" like you would think. You don't get the little tiny, look, Mom, math paper with a gold star on it. You don't get what you do get is a kid that, like Sam 2.0, was a very honest kid when he was growing up. So it would be like, Dad, where have you been? I've been at work all day, buddy. Well, you're getting fatter. You should, So it was like he was very the wins some days were just, I'm going to get a little emotional, but just sometimes the wins were just standing there at his bed, knowing that he went to sleep again, that he's back in bed and the day's over.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's the win. And when I heard this, I was like, oh my gosh, a kid like that hanging so tough through this whole call, not losing his mind, not getting distracted and just putting the phone down and going and becoming focused on something else, not shutting out his mom's cry. Like, all of those things are possible depending on where this kid sits on the spectrum. Just knowing that he was in there and that he took direction and he did what at one point, I don't know if you heard it, but if you go back and you listen to the call, when she says to put the dog away, he's like, come on, Apollo, and step over Mommy.
Yeah.
Like literally, stepping over this woman who's in just an extreme amount of pain. Here's the other thing, and this is one that you might be able to relate with here. It's a little sciencey, but there's a thing that our bodies have called an autonomic nervous system. And if you've ever watched like a boxer or an MMA fighter that gets knocked out, but even when they're knocked out, they still are, their arms are out, they're defending themselves, they grab a leg, they do all kinds of things when they're out because they're so programmed. Their muscle memory is so that even when they're unconscious, they know they need to be defending themselves. Now, here's what's wild about this. I'll give you a little bit more background on this, but she's out like a light this whole time. She is not.
That's what I was going to ask, because she seemed over the top, and I don't mean that like in an offensive way, but
right.
I just kept thinking, get it together, lady. But if she's out cold and not knowing that.
Yeah, she's out cold, but in this autonomic nervous response, her body as a mother is still on fire, trying to come awake, because she knows she's got a child that is not as high functioning as he needs to be. Her motherly instincts are literally kicking in chemically and physically in her brain, and her body is refusing to let her just go into a sleep state. That's what you're hearing. All of it is, there's probably a mixture, obviously, of pain, but that's also why her body was doing the things it was doing, almost inhuman kind of sounds,
right.
Because that was the autonomic response that her body was doing, trying to stay present to protect her child in the instance where physically everything was turned off. It blows my mind. But here Josh, cool as a cucumber, finds his mom's phone, dials 911. We heard mommy got hurt. She fell down. Both his mom and her husband, Lisa and her husband, are like, how did he even know how to call 911?
Right.
Well, it turns out that firefighters had visited his school recently. But wait, there's more. He's not just sitting there on the phone. He's on a mission. The kid grabbed a towel for his mom, even unlocks the doors for the paramedic, just like he was told to do. And she didn't know. So later on, she mentioned that after she arrived at the hospital, she didn't know how she had gotten there or why she was there or anything. She had no clue what was going on in her own life up to that point. Even so that another proof positive that she was unconscious and just not coherent during the whole house experience.
Does it say how far she fell? Like just from a curtain?
Yeah, from a curtain distance. So probably a chair or a step ladder, maybe like a Little Giant, which is an as seen on TV ladder that really is high quality. If you come across a Little Giant for sale, it's not a scam. They are very well made in the USA, multiple configurations. Pick one up.
I guess that I was just going for, I guess she fell directly on her head.
Yes, she was bleeding from her head. So yes, she fell onto her head. And honestly, I broke my neck falling straight on my head, and I was weird. Now that I think about it, I was with my business partner and one of our clients, and we were actually shooting a TV show when I did it. We were downhill mountain biking down a ski run at Brundage Mountain in the summer. And we had neck protection, like a whole, the whole Formula One neck protector. We had that on. We had these bulky helmets. We had full downhill mountain bikes. And I came around this corner and it was a lift. It was a jump, but I didn't take it as a jump. I thought, I don't want to really fly through the air right now. So I just leaned my bike forward like I could catch the ground on the other side of the lip. Ended up catching nothing but air, 8 feet straight down right onto my head. I broke 4 ribs and my neck. And then come to find out later, I made it to the lodge. I got it back on my bike.
It's so op of you.
Yeah. Well, there's GoPro footage from his helmet cam of me going, ah, and then them laughing and them coming over. And I'm like talking to him. I'm like, I bit my tongue. I think I bit my tongue off. I bit my tongue off. And they're like, bro, your tongue's still there. Your tongue's still there. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's gone. My mouth's bleeding. Yeah, your mouth's bleeding, but your tongue's still there. You were making some funny noises. You sounded like that grape squishing lady. You were like, and they're like, do you want to go to the lodge? Like, do you want to go back down, or do you want to, like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I'm going to go to the lodge. So they're like, okay, we'll meet you down there later. They stayed on the hill. I went to the lodge, and we're in McCall, Idaho. There's no hospital in McCall. So somehow I made it to the lodge on my bike with a broken neck and broken ribs by myself. I don't even remember it. The first thing I remember is later that night sitting in a hot tub going, I need to go to the store. I need to get some pain stuff. And then there's footage of my, pardon my French, whole business partner recording me on his phone while I'm in the aisle of the drugstore trying to find pain pills. I'm like, I think this will help me. And he's like, oh, dude, you're messed up. No idea I had broken my neck or anything. Spent 2 more days up there. Went back. Went into the ER at one point because my ribs were just killing me so badly. And they said, so they had me on a gurney and they were poking me at different points. And they poked my leg at one point and they poked my neck and I was like, ow. And they were like, oh my gosh, you need to go. And so they rushed me to this other facility where they did an iodine MRI. Mm-hmm. Come to find out I broke C1 and C2, which are the ones that are connected to your brain stem. Fractured those. Broke 4 ribs. I had no idea my neck was even broken or anything. That's the Superman break. If you remember Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, I'm surprised you can walk.
Well, they were poking my legs. They're like, can you feel that? I'm like, yeah, I can feel that. And I'm like, amazing. And then they had student doctors come in and they're like, so this is weird. The subdermal, blah, 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 blah. And they're like poking my legs. They're like, normally we would see a paralysis in this case. I'm like, oh, you realize I'm right here, right? I can hear everything you're saying. I say all that because I can relate that, like, in a situation like this with a head injury, it messes with everything. Like, I had no idea how I got off the mountain. I had no idea how I got back to a hot tub. I barely remember the drugstore, But my mother instincts didn't kick in. I wasn't trying to protect a child. So I put her on another level on top of me, even though I technically beat Superman with the same break.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you know where he's at, but he's dead. And I'm not. So, feel like Lisa and I both came out on top here. She's got a little hero in her life. I have a big hero now who doesn't, he still calls me fat. But anyway. That's the happy ending for this episode.
That was not a happy ending, but okay. I mean, I get the way you put it, but we'll have to discuss that.
Maybe I'll put you in charge of happy endings. You try to find them. They're hard.
No, I don't.
Anyway, well, if you like this episode and you want to hear, and you didn't know, or you haven't heard it, check out us on Patreon. Check out us on Patreon or on 1159plus.com or 1159 Premium on Apple Podcasts. And check out the extra footage, the extra audio from the radio broadcasts, the police chatter for this episode, and a billion of other things that we provide. Rate, review if you can. If you feel like giving us a 5-star, that really helps. If it's less than that, we can't really stop you. But remember to tell us if you like cats.
Still give a 5 and still give us a 5, but you can tell us how.
Give us a 5-star. Tell us how bad we do. Also, let us know if you like cats and you like change. You need to let us know. Let us know in your 5-star review. And that's all. That's all I got. All right. So until next time, everybody, remember, stay safe. And the real monsters are real. I don't know what he says. I can't remember. Check out Sword and Scale.
No.
Hugs, everybody.
Bye.